Hello, my urbanites. Oh my gosh, I am back with an update on my breaking news. Listen, I usually don't do this, but I told you I may pop in and out when I have something to inform you about, my urbanites. Listen, this is real big. This is huge. I need you to all come in the Urban Suite. I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you to subscribe to this channel. This is an update on my breaking news. And again, it's regarding Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Perry. Now, I did a breaking news last week about them. Listen to this. Prior, that means before her whole vaccination gate. I call it the vaccination gate. So anyway, before that, I did a breaking news about her husband, Kenneth Zoo Perry, who pled guilty for failure to not register as a sex offender. That's huge. Why? Because he faces up to 10 years in prison, as well as a lifetime of supervision under the watchful eye of parole. Now, you all know, if you all have been following me, if you all know who I am Dr. Lisa Lacan. Welcome into the Urban Suite. I did my research regarding sex offenders, my dissertation regarding sex offenders. I work with sex offenders, and this I'm going to watch along the way until January 24th, 2022, when his sentencing happens. Listen, this is major. This is major, what I'm going to share with you today about what is happening with Nicki Minaj and her husband. So come on in, like, share. You all know I usually don't do this on a Wednesday night, but I had to share this with you so that you can be educated about certain things. So let's look at this. Hold on for a second. When you have been convicted, now, last month, I wrote his alleged rape victim, Jennifer Hough, who, filed a lawsuit against him and Minaj. And I said that happened last month. I posted this last week in September. Let's get the record and the timeline straight, okay? So a month prior to September is what? Y'all know, it's August. So she filed a lawsuit in August before all of this fanfare took place. All right, let's continue. Which she accused the pair of attempting to intimidate her into recanting her rape accusation, saying that they offered her $500,000. Listen. Okay. That happened, what she said, Jennifer Huff, and I mispronounced her name. Her name is Jennifer Huff. She was victimized by Kenneth Perry when she was 16, okay? He apparently was 17, but I told you all, I informed you urbanites, it does not matter. If you have sexual relations with anyone under 18 and someone is going to file charges against you, okay, you can be convicted of a sex crime. And apparently, this was not consensual with Kenneth Zoo Perry. It was not consensual. I can no longer say allegedly because he served 4 years in prison. He is a sex offender because he violated the law. Can you all get that in your mind? You all are so focused on Nicki Minaj is this, Nicki Minaj is that. Let's forget her. Forget her. Let's look at him. She's not in the equation. She wasn't there. She wasn't charged. Forget who she is at this point. Don't get overly emotional. Okay? Let's relax. It's not about her. It's about him. He was charged and convicted of a sex crime. He is a sex offender by law and under the supervision of parole. I spoke about that before. Look at the video, because I can tell a lot of you all don't watch videos. You just read headlines and you just go and become emotional, and you don't do your research. Do your research. What else are you doing during COVID? I mean, you have plenty of time to do your research. Don't become overly emotional. Do your research. He was charged with a sex crime. He was convicted of a sex crime. He served his time for his sex crime. And then he was released from the brick and mortar. And now he's doing the rest of his time out in the community. I talked to you all about this. I laid it out. But still, some people are like, well, it's not his responsibility to register. Yes, it is in the United States. In the United States, if you are on parole and you have been discharged or released from prison as a sex offender, you are now under the custody and the supervision of parole. And there's certain things that you have to take responsibility for. You have to take responsibility for registering yourself because you are an adult. Why can't you all understand this? You are an adult. If you made a decision to have relations with a minor, you need to make a decision to walk into the precinct and register. Why is that so difficult and so hard to understand? I mean, really. But this is who she married. And just like the Bible says, the two shall become one. So she's doing everything in her power, in her limited power in a sense, to fight this. And I'm going to talk about that a little later. So that's what I said. And then let's go to the real. The real has the victim. She's not an alleged victim. She is the victim. Now, why is she not the alleged victim when she was 16? Come on, think. I want you to think. Put on your thinking cap and tie it tight at the bottom. She is not the alleged victim because he was found guilty and he served time based on what was presented on her behalf in court. You understand? So she's not the alleged victim. She was victimized by him. That's what the court, that was their decision. So we have to go with that. You weren't there. I was not there. You can't put your emotions in place. You have to go with the law. The law is the law. Now, if you don't like the law, hey, do something about it. If not, shut your mouth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So On the real today, this is the victim. This happened in 1994 and 1995. So people are like, well, this happened such a long time ago. How come she can't get over it? Well, you know what? She's not like you. Hello. She was 16. This may have affected her tremendously. And to know that her predator is not being obedient to the law and not registering as a sex offender, she may be thinking in her mind, oh my gosh, is he possibly doing this to someone else's child? Is he possibly doing this to your grandchild? Is he possibly doing this to your niece? Is he possibly doing this to your sister? Is he possibly doing this to your child? I mean, really. So maybe this is what she's thinking. So let's look at this.
Welcome back. Our next guest is speaking out for the first time on camera regarding a lawsuit she filed against Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty. A lawsuit accusing them of harassment and intimidation, among other charges. We believe that all women's voices have the right to be heard.
Listen what she said. I believe all women's voices have the right to be heard. But sometimes you all just want your side to be heard and not another side to be heard. And in the court of law, all sides, both sides are heard. This may be troubling and disturbing to you, but guess what? If she were your daughter, how would you feel? I don't know. And you have to think about this. You really have to think about this. If this woman was your daughter, how would you feel? What would you be thinking right now? So let's continue.
Which is why we invited her to come here today. Please welcome Jennifer Huff and her lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Jennifer and Tyrone. Jennifer, I know this is not an easy thing for you to do, so we're going to take our time. After being silent for so long, why are you here speaking up today?
I'm tired of being afraid. I feel like the actions that were taken in regards to this whole situation have put me in a different type of fear.
Okay. So not everyone is as strong as you. Not everyone is as resilient as you. Not everyone wears a cape on their chest with the Wonder Woman, thing as you. This woman is walking in fear. Look at her body language. Let me rewind this.
Thing for you to do, so we're going to take our time.
Accusing them of harassment and
look at her body language. This is very interesting. Unless she's a fantastic actress, I don't know. I don't know anything about her.
We invited her to come here today.
But
Please
look at her
welcome
body language.
Jennifer Huff and her lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Jennifer and Tyrone. Jennifer, I know this is not an easy thing for you to do, so we're going to take our time.
Look at her body language, her eyes, her sitting position. She has her hands clutched as if she's a schoolgirl. Her hands are clutched as if that's her safety blanket. In my opinion, I believe what she's saying. Now, the court of law believed what she was saying because Mr. Perry was found guilty. Let's continue.
Being silent for so long, why are you here speaking up today?
I'm tired of being afraid. I feel like the actions that were taken in regards to this whole situation.
She can't even look at her eye contact. She can't even look forward. She's looking down because she's shameful of what happened. She's still feeling shameful. People can say, well, why don't she get over it? You know what? She's not built like you. Not everyone on this planet is built like you, Miss Superwoman. Not everyone on this planet, has the best therapist to go to like you, Superwoman. Not everyone on this planet, can say, you know what, this just never affected me. I can dust this off. Not everyone is like you. This is her journey. This is her path. Respect that. Let's continue.
Have put me in a different type of fear at my age now, and it was wrong, and I don't want to be afraid anymore. So
Welcome back.
So she says that she doesn't want to be afraid anymore. So in August, prior to this whole vaccination stuff coming out, in August, she filed a lawsuit. But let me tell you, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. Nicki Minaj, her PR camp, wanted her to deflect from these sexual assault charges and for her husband to be facing 10 years. Let me tell you why. When news broke about her husband failing to register as a sex offender and facing 10 years, don't get emotional, folks. Don't get emotional. When the news broke, it was literally within hours or days of the VMA awards. And then she said that she was going to cancel the awards because she wasn't vaccinated. Well, she knew she wasn't vaccinated 2 weeks prior. And I'm sure she knew she wasn't going to get vaccinated in time for the awards, because you have to get 2 doses, right? And the 2 doses, 1 dose is 1 week, and then the following dose is 3 weeks. She knew she was not going to the awards if she were not vaccinated way before 2 days or a day before the award show. That didn't fly with me. That shouldn't fly with you. Okay. Now, she canceled the Met Gala. Where was the Met Gala? The Met Gala was in New York. Prior to her going to New York, she was in California. She would not be able to go to the Met Gala with her husband, which would have taken away from everything that she would have done in terms of her outfit and everything. She would have been, I guess, fallen back, because the reporters would have asked, Nicki, where's your husband? What are you wearing tonight? Where's your husband? How come he's not here? He could not leave the state, I'm sure. Right now, parole is tight on him. I told you guys, you have to get permission to leave the state if you are under the supervision of parole. You just can't go willy-nilly and leave without permission from your parole officer. So she was going to go to the Met Gala unaccompanied, which would have raised a lot of questions, and the reporters would have asked her. So what did she do? She went out there and she took the blows for her husband. She took the blows, and she did have on that Wonder Woman thing on her, Beam Me Up, Scotty. She took the blows for her family. That's what she did. Because it's called, in counseling, deflection. And you all fell into the deflection trap. You fell into the trap. She was like, oh, I'm going to talk about something else. Let me pivot. Let me pivot to the vaccination. Let me use this as an excuse why I can't go to the Met Gala in New York. Come on now. If her husband would have accompanied her to the Met Gala in New York, it would have been, listen to what I'm saying, it would have been parole's obligation to arrest him on the spot at the Met Gala. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what parole will do. They've done it with our clients. They've gone to the employer and arrested them on the spot. She knew she couldn't do that, so she had to pivot. And it was brilliant. You had the White House involved. Brilliant. You had her country, Trinidad and Tobago, involved. Brilliant. You had all these people involved. Brilliant. McCain, the woman McCain, brilliant. You had Joy Reid involved. Brilliant. Brilliant move on Nicki Minaj's camp. Brilliant. That was the best deflection tactic. No, who is her PR person? Who is her marketing person? Because guess what? They did it. Listen, if you are a student in majoring in PR, this is something to study, because she took the blows for her husband. Listen, I told people about this. You have to look at the timeline. You have to look at, okay, this is interesting. The timeline of all this happening. This is nothing new. This woman did not come out as a response of her talking about the vaccination. The media just caught up. The drive-by media, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, the drive-by media just caught up to it. This had been happening in the summer. You all are slow to the game, slow to the dance. The media is slow to this. This is what this, I'm telling you, and as I said, my urbanites, you're going to follow me while I follow this. This is fascinating. Also, what is fascinating about this? Parole. Who were his parole officers? Where were the parole officers? Get this out there. Because in New Jersey, this wouldn't have happened. I'm almost certain, in my opinion. In my opinion, this would not have happened. Let me paint the picture for you how it works when you're under the supervision of parole, as in the sex offender management unit. I said it's called the SOMU unit in New Jersey. This is how it works. I'm going to have to paint this picture to you all again. So you're charged, you're convicted, you serve your time. You want to be released, you sit in front of the parole board. The parole board either says yes or no to your release. And based on a yes, there are certain conditions that you have to adhere to. So you are no longer in prison. You're no longer in the brick and mortar. You're serving the rest of your time in the community under the watchful eye of parole. That's what I said, the watchful eye of parole. So you're in the community. You need to register. And this registration process is based on Megan's Law. And I'm going to read to you about what Megan's Law is from Cornell University Law School. Megan's Law was founded in the state of what? Megan's Law was founded in the state of New Jersey. So I'm going to read to you what Megan's Law is. Hold on for a second. Let me get this Megan's Law. I need my readers, you guys. Megan's Law, this is according to the Law School of Cornell University. Megan's Law was created in response to the 1994 murder of Megan Nicole Kanka in New Jersey. Unbeknownst to Megan Kanka and her family, a violent predator previously convicted of a sex offense against a child was living across the street before he abducted, sexually assaulted, and murdered Megan. That's what Megan's Law is. It derived from the state of New Jersey. Like I said, New Jersey parole officers, that would not slip. Him going from New York to California. This is how it works based on my experience in New Jersey, where Megan's Law was created. So you have a person who's on parole who is a sex offender, and they have meetings with their parole officers. Meetings. They do have meetings. I don't know if Kenneth Perry, whatever his name is, had meetings. Nicki Minaj's husband had meetings with the parole officer. But you have to have meetings with your parole officer as a sex offender. Quite often, you ask your parole officer, Mr. Brown or Miss Brown, I would like to relocate to such and such because, I'm married now and my wife is so-and-so. I would like to relocate to California. So they need to get all the information. The parole officer needs to get all the information they can possibly get. Where you're moving. What will you be doing? The area, all of that. And then guess what they do? The New York parole officer should have contacted California to let them know, listen, we gave permission for Joe Blow to come to California. This is his date. This is when he's arrived. It's down to the T. They don't go under the guise of, well, I don't know when he's coming. No. You have to, as a sex offender, follow what your parole officer says. So if your parole officer says, okay, you can move August the 10th at 3:00 to be in California, August the 10th at 8 p.m., that's the plan. And guess what? The parole officer in California is waiting for you to register with him. The question I have is, where were these parole officers when he didn't register for a while? I don't know. Because if the California parole officer was expecting him, that's the key, was expecting him, and I'm going to talk about this, was expecting him and he didn't register, he should have contacted New York to say, listen, this guy didn't register. What's happening? And then guess what? A warrant should have been out. I don't know if it was or not. I have no idea. But in the event, say for instance, if Mr. Perry, whatever his name is, if he did not register and fulfill his obligations, the New York parole should have done checkups on him. You know where he is because he's married to Nicki Minaj. You know where he is as a parole officer. You know his address. You know who he lives with. You know their telephone numbers. You can do house visits any time because they have to give you that information. So where was the New York parole officer in the event, Mr. Perry, what is his name? Perry? I don't know. In the event, Mr. Zoo Petty, that's his name. I keep saying Perry. I don't know why. In the event, Mr. Zoo Petty did not tell the parole officer here in New York should have done follow-ups. It seemed like something happened. Y'all, people need to look into that. It seemed like something happened. It seemed like somebody dropped the ball on the parole case because either which way, he should not have gone to California without the red alert from here in New York or California. I don't know. Listen, this is going to be major. This has nothing to do with Nicki Minaj's the vaccination. That was a deflection and a detraction. But I guarantee you, listen to me and what I'm saying. I guarantee you there's more than meets the eye with this, because he was only found out he was a sex offender because of a vehicular accident and the police. That shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. Absolutely not. Who was his assigned parole officer in California waiting to receive him? Who was his assigned parole officer in New York waiting to, preparing to send him? This is, let me tell you, this is not good. This is not good. And, I'm not saying anything, but I know Nicki Minaj, she has a lot of money. A lot of money. And somebody dropped the ball. Somebody dropped the ball. And now she's using her money to allegedly, because I will say allegedly, threaten the victim who he sexually assaulted when she was 16. Like, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Your husband was convicted. It's your husband that was wrong. It's your husband that didn't follow the law. Maybe somebody's paid off, in my opinion. I don't know. Listen, people need to ask questions. Where's this? What happened with parole? So as I read this Megan's Law, which was founded and created in the great state, the Garden State of New Jersey, that I'm telling you, I just, nope. This is very troubling. Very troubling. And more is going to come out regarding this. More is going to come out regarding this, because the bottom line question that I have is, where was parole? Who are the parole officers handling this? And who are the supervisors of parole in New York and parole in California? Because like I said, the transition from New York to California, they know every step of the way what flight you're taking. They need all that information. Like, it's just like, well, I'm going to California and I think I'm going next week. No, parole does not operate like that. They need every single detail to your home address. They need every single detail so they can pass along that information to the receiving parole officer. So he's just having fun. And a source even said, now this is probably on the news, that he even went out of the country to Trinidad. Did he get permission to go? I don't know. The parole officer needs to be asked, did you give him permission to go out of the country? And papers need to be shown that permission was granted. If it is, fine. If not, I don't know. But anyway, that's what I have for tonight regarding this whole thing. And also, I wanted to say, people ask me, well, why do you want to work with sex offenders? And my answer is, first of all, I don't know. I was just kind of thrown into it. But I have to say, as a mom, I work with sex offenders so that I will help them not violate your children. I will help them not violate your grandchildren. I will help them not violate your niece, your nephew, your cousin. That's why I do it from a preventive measure. All right, so I'm signing out. I can't believe I'm like exhausted. I'm spent. Hopefully you all learned something tonight. But this is just the beginning. I said I'm going to keep you posted, and this is what I'm here to do, to keep you posted and educated, and to give you tools so that you will understand the law. It is the law. Remove Nicki Minaj. What if she was just a regular Joe Smo, and her husband did this? But because you all have this image of her as being like, oh my gosh, so wonderful and lovely, they still have to follow the law. She's still human. She still has to follow the law, and her husband has to follow the law. But again, like I said, it was a great tactic, a great deflection, and everybody fell for it. Oh my God, I sat back. I didn't say anything. I sat back and I was eating my popcorn while this was happening. And I pray for Miss Jennifer. And I'm glad she came out. I'm glad she came out. And she came out on a platform that, a lot of people are watching. So kudos to you. And kudos to The Real for, showing this. The Real caught up to me. Hallelujah. Hello. So anyway, be safe. Good night. God bless. This is Dr. Lisa Lacan. I wish you well. Don't be so overly emotional. Don't be so overly emotional. When you're overly emotional, you don't think logically. All right. So good night. Bye.